everybody, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name is Kat, and for today we are taking a look at the medium-sized palettes. So this is going to be palettes that have anywhere between 7 to 9 pans in them. And this is part 2. We've got like at least 2 more parts of this, if not a third one, before we even get into the single eye shadows. So let's just jump right in and see what we can potentially declutter, and if I end up decluttering nothing, I feel like standard for me. But let's just jump right in. So first up, I have 3 palettes from the Crayon Case, and these are their Notepad edition. So they had a bunch of different colors. They're all monochromatic palettes. So this is like the yellow one, and then we have the green one, and then we have for smoky eyes this guy right here. And I have not tried them out yet, but I thought that it was a really cute concept. I love the idea of the notepad and just the whole concept behind the Crayon Case and how it's like all office supplies. I love office supplies, so this was just like the cutest thing ever to me. So I am definitely excited to try them out, see if I like the formula, see if I might want to pick up anything else. Then next up we have from Winky Lux. This is their Galaxy Kitten palette. It has really cute like package design, almost reminds me of the Sugar Drizzle Pizza Cat palette that I had looked at like a couple weeks ago, where it just has like a really cute kind of fun memeable design, and then the interior looks like this. So very nice smoky eye palette, not at all what I was expecting color story wise based on the exterior, but still excited to try it out. I haven't really tried anything from Winky Lux yet, and so I'm excited to see if their formula is good, since I mean it is drugstore. That would be awesome if it is a good formula, because it's going to be super inexpensive. Then we have my next Asgard Queen palette, and this is an indie brand from Russia. They do a really awesome job with their packaging. I had showed a smaller palette that I have from them in my previous video with the 4 to 6 pan palettes, and so the inside of this guy looks like this. Definitely very interesting color story, much more of a smoky eye. I did have a couple of them break on the way here, but I was able to repress them thankfully, so I'm still able to use all of it. This guy is a really fun duochrome, and so I'm gonna go ahead and swatch that guy for you guys so you can see what that looks like. It's a little bit more of a sheer formula, but has a really pretty shift from like a purple to blue. A little bit more of a shimmery type sheer formula. Has a bit more of that reddish undertone base to it, but really pretty shift between purple and kind of greenish blue. And their packaging is just really, really cute. There's another ribbon that would kind of get tied along here to make it look a little bit more like a little notebook type thing. So really cute. Recommend checking them out. They're fairly inexpensive, and I just really like the package design. Then I have 2 9-pan palettes from Nomad Cosmetics, which is definitely one of my favorite indie brands. I absolutely love the concept behind the brand, just all of the different types of traveling around that they do. It's definitely one of my favorite videos to film, just because I really like being able to share some of my stories of my travels while being stationed overseas. I had the really good fortune to be able to kind of travel around a little bit, and so I took a bunch of pictures. So I just absolutely love filming those videos for you guys, showing the color stories of the different palettes, and then also showing pictures and things like that. I have not done a video on these 2 palettes yet though. So the Lago di Como is super colorful, really beautiful with blues, yellows, and greens, and then the Toscana is a really beautiful neutral palette. But both of them are in Italy, and I have been to Italy. I was able to go to Venice, and so if you guys are interested in me doing a video on these 2 palettes together and just kind of talking about my travels to Venice, I can definitely do that. I did also pick up their Halloween palette that they just dropped, and that is Haunted Europe. I will definitely be doing a video for that very, very soon, and so you guys will get to see all of my travels to some of the more haunted places like Prague, and I went to Scotland, so really excited to show you guys that, plus that color story for that palette is just absolutely gorgeous. Then we have from Peachy Queen the Tiffany's palette, and this is by far everything you would think it would be for a Tiffany's palette. Really nice mint greens, some kind of more plummy gray tones, and just really, really beautiful. This is such a gorgeous shade. Let me go ahead and swatch this for you guys. We all know I love a good mermaid teal blue. There you go. Look at that. Just immediately opaque, super duper stunning. Absolutely gorgeous. And I just think that Peachy Queen has like some really cute packaging sometimes, and so I thought this one was kind of color story wise along my wavelength, so I grabbed it. Yeah. Let me know what you guys think. Then we have from Makeup a Murder. This is their Crime Scene Trace Evidence eyeshadow palette, and it is a rainbow palette, but just super duper vibrant, really good matte shades, absolutely perfect for blending out into different looks. And so I really, really enjoy this. I think having this palette to kind of pair with the loose pigments that I have from Makeup a Murder is perfect. I definitely think it's a great palette to get, and I'm excited to kind of be trying out some more from Makeup a Murder. Let me know if you guys would be interested in a video where I test out all of my loose pigments that I have from them. Then we have 3 palettes from Hank & Henry, and I don't really have, I haven't bought anything recently from them. I had picked up these guys. I believe this one came in like a mystery box, and then these 2 I had grabbed because I really liked the packaging. I thought it was super cute. And then the color story of this one is just really, really stunning. And this guy is more of a neutral palette. And then the Living in Color is super duper bright. But I have to be honest, like the formula is not my favorite. It is a little bit tricky to work with. It's also not quite as like super bold on the first go. You do have to apply the matte shades quite a bit to get them to show up really, really nicely on the eye. And then the blending is just a little bit iffy. So I think I'm going to declutter the Living in Color palette. I will keep these 2 though, because I really like the designs on the packaging. And so I'm going to hold on to those, but I'm going to declutter the Living in Color. Next from Kaleidos, we have the Flower Punk palette, and this is their 9-pan palette. This guy just pops right off with a mirror, and this is your color story on the inside. I have swatched all of the shimmers, compared them to the shimmers from all of the other Kaleidos palettes in a recent video. I also did just an entire look with the entire collection, as well as the lippies and everything else. And so if you guys are interested in that, there are some previous videos that I've done on this guy. I will go ahead and swatch this gold color for you guys though, so you can see just how lovely the shimmers are. This is a really nice kind of grungy gold shade, and just really, really nice. Has a little bit of a grungy, greenish, olive green undertone to it. So it's just really, really nice. This is also one of the more opaque shimmers from Kaleidos. They typically run a little bit more sheer, and so I like that they're starting to include some more shimmers that have a little bit stronger of a pigmentation to them. Then we have from Bella and Arjen, and this is not a brand that I really have ever used before. This is the Plum Premonition palette. And I mean, it's cute. It does have some nice golds and plums, but these are not really colors that I tend to gravitate toward. I don't think I've ever actually used this palette, again, because I don't really reach for this color story. So I'm gonna go ahead and declutter this guy and see if someone else that appreciates golds and plum shades might be able to get a use out of it instead. So I'm not gonna swatch anything from this one, but it is getting decluttered. Next, we have my 2 Alien Cosmetics palettes. And so you have the Serendipity palette, which I absolutely love this packaging. I think it's super duper cute. And then you've got these gorgeous shades, such an interesting color story on there, really unexpected. The mattes are really, really nice. The shimmers are really, really nice. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this guy in the middle here for you. Also a little bit more on the sheer side. Definitely has that similar reddish base to it with a whole lot of different color speckles on top, but just a really beautiful topper shade. And then the Don't Be Jelly palette, I did a video just dedicated to this because this palette was like the most unexpected palette I think I picked up this entire year. I thought that these 5 shades were like more matte. In all of the promo photos that they had, they did not come across as anything special to me, but all 5 that make that X are multi-chrome shades, absolutely stunning. And then these 4 are different pigmented shimmers that also have a duo or multi-chrome shift to them, but just all of these shades are so, so good. I'm gonna go ahead and swatch this guy in the middle here for you guys, just so you can see. Just absolutely stunning. You can already see that kind of goldish green to the cranberry red, and then there's some more magenta. I mean, just absolutely stunning. You can see a bit more of the green there. So good. Just truly completely unexpected. I already like sent a message to the brand and I was like, please bring this palette back. Next up we have from Sugar Drizzle. This is a water activated liner palette, and I did literally like 2 weeks ago just pick this up because they just released it along with 5 of these multi-chrome single shades that have like a rose design on them. I will be doing a video with these guys. With the liners, I need to kind of play around with them a little bit more before I would do a video, just because I'm not super experienced when it comes to liners, and so I want to kind of test it out a little bit first. But they are also supposed to be multi-chrome shifts as well, so I'm very excited to see how this goes, and I will let you guys know. Then we have my 3 Marc Jacobs palettes, and for anyone that's watched me for any amount of time, you know how much I love Marc Jacobs. They're like one of the only luxury brands where I am just absolutely all about them. So this guy right here was actually a gift from Zinnia. It's a really nice cool tone smoky eye palette. Very beautiful, really nice gray tones on there. This guy is more of a grungy yellow to green kind of palette. Really beautiful, very warm toned, but also very grungy. These 2 shimmers are really nice. And then this guy is my favorite. It is an absolutely stunning cool toned lilac palette. So you have really beautiful gray to lilac shades. Absolutely stunning. I did a video on this for my Battle of the Purple palettes like a while ago and absolutely love it. So good. The formula is amazing. So I just I will not be decluttering these guys probably ever. Alright, next up we have the Urban Decay On The Run Detour palette, and this guy is mainly neutral tones with then a darker teal blue and then what looks like an iridescent shimmer that did kind of break when I got it. I grabbed it because I thought the blues would be worthwhile, but since then I have tried a few other Urban Decay palettes and their formula is very hit or miss to me, and so I just feel like, especially considering that this is primarily neutral tones, I'm not really going to reach for it all that much, and so I am planning to declutter this guy. Next up we have my 2 Tarte palettes, and this guy is from the Rainforest of the Sea line, and I think this guy might also be. I believe this is the more neutral toned one. Yeah, it is just 100% neutral tones, and I mean, it's all right. Like, I'm not, the Tarte formula to me it's fine. Like, it's not anything to write home about. This one is a bit more of the darker neutral tones, and so I do kind of prefer this one a little bit. So I think I'm going to hold on to this guy. I think I'm going to declutter this one. Then we have from Butter London the Teddy Boy palette, and it kind of opens in a neat way like a book, and then it has some more cool toned navy to neutral type shades on here, which I actually think was kind of interesting to combine these colors. I have not tried it out yet, but I am interested in trying it. Plus I just like how the palette is put together like this. I think this is kind of fun that it just has 2 panels that open out, and so I am interested to try this guy, and so we'll see how it goes. Next we have from Iby Cosmetics the Break the Rules palette, and I have featured this guy on my channel several times. The shades are really nice. They are a very similar formula to what Sugar Drizzle and Adept Cosmetics has, but still very nice. And so if you don't have any of these shades, Iby Cosmetics might be a cheaper option than going with Adept. Let's go ahead and swatch this green one right here. It is very nice. Also a bit more mermaidy, but you can see really nice quality on there, really nice opacity, very bright shimmer. So definitely worth it. It's just really kind of a matter of which brand do you want to support, because the formula is very similar, and so if you're seeing shimmers that look the same to each other, they probably are a very similar formula between those 3 brands, and so I tend to look for which palettes amongst them have different shades, and then those are the ones that I grab. Next up from BH Cosmetics, I have 5, I think they came out with 6 of the Sweet Shop palettes, and I've got 5 of them. So I have the blue one that is the bubblegum. Absolutely gorgeous. This is such a good blue palette. I mean, oh, it's so good. The Cotton Candy, which has pinks and purples in there, also really nice. I'm gonna save the pistachio one because that's my favorite. And then we have Cherry on top, which is just really nice reds. And I think one of the things that I absolutely love about these monochromatic palettes is that they have a really nice range of like lighter to deeper tones, and so you can create really nice looks with a lot of depth to them. The Sugar Cone palette is just your really nice neutral palette. I have not dipped into this guy yet, but even though I don't lean towards neutral palettes, I would keep it just because I collect them. I like all of them, and so I'm just going to keep this one because I know the formula is also really good, so if I ever do want to do a neutral look, I can grab that one. And then the Pistachio palette. Look at all these greens. They are so, so gorgeous. So the bottom line on all of them is always matte shades, top line is always your shimmers, and again, a really nice range of light to deep tones. So, so good. Oh my goodness. Let me swatch this deeper green for you guys here, just so you can see how opaque it is. Look at that. Oh my goodness. Such a good deep shade. Almost has a bit of a green to blue shift on it. I mean, immediately opaque. Just really, really nice. And the matte shades blend together beautifully, and they are super duper pigmented. So I mean, as far as the Sweet Shop palettes go, the formula is amazing. So anytime that they have it available, I would highly suggest checking these guys out if you're wanting a really nice monochromatic palette. All right, next up I have from Complex Culture. I think I had gotten this like either in a BoxyCharm or an Ipsy, and it is very much a neutral palette. It does have some nice looking shimmers on there, but I think the only thing that I did was I swatched the shimmer shades, and they were nice, but again, I have other neutral palettes that I would rather reach for than this one, and so I think I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter this guy because I literally never reach for it ever. Next up from Gorman Girls, we have the Vivacious palette, which was a collab between Gorman Girls and Ashley Eats Dinos 13, which is just the most amazing Instagram name I think ever. And this is by far my favorite palette from Gorman Girls, because look at all the colors. It is just so many colors. The plummy like purple shades, this lime green is lovely, the pink is beautiful, the blue shades, so I will say this guy and this one come across a bit more like satin shades, but then you have these two that are just like stupid impactful when it comes to metallics. Like, I'm gonna go ahead and swatch the gold shade for you guys because I feel like we've swatched a lot of blue already. Look at that singular swatch and just immediately opaque on there. I mean, absolutely stunning. Has a really nice reflect on there. No glitter, so it's definitely just a pure metallic, not a shimmer, but just so good. I mean, this was also my first palette from Gorman Girls, and oh, so good. I absolutely love it. If you enjoy a really nice kind of neon rainbow palette, this is a really good one to take a look at. Next up from Clarity Cosmetics, we have the Cobra palette, which was a newer release that they came out with, and look at the stunning grunge that is this palette. It is definitely significantly deeper tones, and so if you are someone that prefers more pastel looks or lighter, less super bold colors, this palette's probably not for you, but for any of my deep toned lovers out there that enjoy a really nice solid grunge, this palette is perfect. I mean, the two golds are really nice. This is such a good mustard matte shade. They are pressed pigments, so they will stain slightly, but if you have a good cleanser, it still comes right off. Both of these are really nice. I think that's my only critique with this palette, is that I wish these two tones were just ever so slightly more different, because they are a little different. Like, this one's a little bit deeper than this guy, but they are super close to being the same. So I just wish that they had like maybe made this one ever so slightly more green to match this guy. I don't know. Just a slight tweak on there I think would have made this absolute perfection. Then we have the Moods palette from Laura Sanchez, which is not a brand that I am overly familiar with. It has what looks like two highlighters and then a line of matte shades and then a line of shimmers, and I have never touched this, nor do I really expect that I would, just because I have other palettes that I prefer to reach for where I know the formula is really, really good. So I think that before I mess this one up, I'm just gonna go ahead and declutter it and see if anybody else would like it. Alright, next up we have my 9 Huda Beauty palettes, and for someone that supposedly doesn't do well with Huda Beauty, I sure have a lot of their palettes. So I recently did a video where I had done a Sephora haul, and I did a look with these two, and I don't know if it was the primer, which I have a sneaking suspicion that it was, because I have been continuously using the Milk eyeshadow primer since then, and like 100% of my looks have been amazing, so I feel like it's the primer, but really enjoyed the look that I created with these, and so now that I know that I have a primer that can make these shadows work for me, I am gonna give all of them another go, because like, the Haze palette is such a good fall grunge color story. Like, that's the thing with Huda Beauty, is that like, even if I can't always get the shadows to work the way I would like, she kills me with the color stories, because they're just so freaking good. Like, this is such a perfect fall palette. I can't get over it. And like the Jaguar palette, if you are someone that wants a nice blend of neutrals with like a little bit of color and shimmer, this is your gal for a really nice smoky palette. The Python palette was definitely very, very colorful, but turned out really, really nice. I did get the nude light one, which I don't think I've dipped into too much. Like, I think I swatched this guy and that was kind of it. For a neutral palette, it's cute how it has like a little bit of some pink and purple shimmers in there as well. But I kind of feel like for nudes, I don't really need it. Like, I have other nudes that I would prefer, so I think I'm gonna declutter this one. Okay. And then I have the 3 pastel ones, which I am actually going to be doing a comparison video between these 3 pastel palettes, the 3 Colourpop pastel palettes, and the 3 Glam Shop pastel palettes, because all 3 brands came out with these bundles for 3 pastel palettes, and they are all along the same color storyline. So I do want to do a video comparing all 3 sets so that you guys know, are they super similar? Are they different? So we're gonna skip over those. I do also have 2 of the jeweled ones. So I have the red ruby one, which is very pretty, and then this was the first Huda Beauty palette I ever got, the emerald one. And because it's just, again, such a good grunge green palette. Like, this color story is stupid good. There is something about the shimmers that I don't know what it is, but like this gold one, of course, now that I'm touching it, it's like not hard pan anymore magically. I think it's just like, that last video like reset me for Huda Beauty, where I'm not mad at her at all anymore, and it's just like everything works like magic all of a sudden. So I'm gonna retry all of my Huda palettes, see how they go, readjust my opinion. Next up, we have 2 of my 9-pan palettes from Juvias Place. We have the Tribe and the Nomad, and the Tribe is this lovely palette, which is just, again, gorgeous fall palette. So beautiful. The matte shades that you have, 5 really nice matte shades, all tonally go beautifully with each other, definitely a bit more grunge. And then the shimmer shades, absolutely stunning, fit the tones that you would want. I think the only thing that I kind of wish is, instead of this gold one, I wish that they had had a green. You know, because you've got the nice deeper one to go with the teal shade. I wish this gold one had been a green. That's my only thing. And then the Nomad, also absolutely stunning. I mean, for a neutral palette, it got me, because these shades are just really, really nice. They're just unique enough in a neutral palette to where I really gravitate towards them. They would create an absolutely gorgeous smoky eye, a little bit more on the warm tone side, which I think is really nice and unique. So definitely gonna hold on to both of these. Next, I was able to grab from Lethal Cosmetics the collab between Lethal and Teresa is Dead. So we have the Lethal is Dead palette. I have not tested it out yet, but these are the shades. Really, really nice. Definitely more grungy in tone. They are a little bit deeper than what the camera is showing you on here, but very, very nice. You have 3 shimmer shades and then 6 I can add 6 matte shades on there, and really, really beautiful color story. I also really like how on the mirror it's like, don't look behind you. just super cute, really falls into the theme for Halloween. And then the different shade names, the Final Girl, they're all like very much reminiscent of Halloween scary movies, which is something that Teresa is Dead like is all about. So really excited to try this guy out. Let me know if you would like a video on this one, or if you guys just want for me to post like a look to Instagram. Let me know either way. All right, next up we have all of my Colourpop 9-pan palettes, of which we have just a stupid amount of the monochromatic ones that they came out with. So like the Ooh La La one is just your really bright pink palette, Blue Moon, really nice blue. The Honey palette, really nice yellow palette. This will be in my Battle of the Yellow Palettes video that I'll have also in the month of October coming out. It's My Pleasure is a really nice purple palette. I will say that this one to me comes across as slightly less monochromatic because it does have like some more plummy, more reddish toned purples and then a couple cool toned ones, so slightly less monochromatic. The Orange Glad, Just My Luck, really nice green palette. Main Squeeze, really nice red. And then I do have 3 of their more specialty themed ones. We have the High Tide, which color story wise is probably my favorite. It's really nice kind of mermaidy teal blue shades. I do also have the Mandalorian palette with the child and really cute grungy kind of palette. And then the Baroque palette was part of a 3-palette release, and I just kind of preferred this one because it was very much so like cool toned grays, which I really enjoy. I know that Caitlin on her channel CP Fashion did recently a look with the Baroque, and she really likes that palette, so I'm excited to test that out. And if you are wanting someone that can really critique Colourpop, I would highly suggest checking out her channel. I will link it in the description down below if you guys are curious about her channel. And then we have the 3 pastel palettes. So again, those will be in my comparison video coming up, so I'm not going to show you guys too much because I want it to be a bit of a sneaky. You're gonna see it soon. Alright, then we have from Ofra Cosmetics the Francesca Toulouse palette, and this is a fairly nice palette. It's primarily matte shades, and then like this guy looks like it has like a little bit of some sparkle in it, but if anything it's more of that like pretend sparkle where as soon as you apply it to your eye the sparkle is gone. And then it has one shimmer kind of highlighter shade in the center. It's a nice like sort of almost rainbow palette, but not quite. I think the packaging is nice. I've used a couple of the shades in this palette, and the formula, like, it didn't wow me. I think Ofra is more of a brand that I tend to turn to for highlighters, but for their eyeshadow, not so much. And so I think there's probably a good chance that I'll just like pick out the colors that I really like, because you can just kind of pop the pans right out. And so I think I'll grab the shades I like and then declutter the rest. Next up we have from Estate Cosmetics. This was in the Ipsy only Bailey Sarian collab. That's the Venice Fling palette. And I absolutely love Bailey Sarian, so I'm just really excited to have something that has her name on it. I know that like after her channel kind of like shot through the roof with her Murder Mystery Makeup Mondays, that like this palette was something that she was like, it's really cool, but like it's not so much me anymore. But I still think the color story is very nice. It's really great for like sunset type looks, I think. I haven't dipped into it yet, but let's go ahead and swatch this purple shade, see if the shimmer metallic formula is able to stack up. Okay, I'm gonna go in for a second swatch on here. Okay, it's not too bad. It's not completely opaque after 2 dips into the pan, but it's not bad. It's a pretty shade. So I think I'm gonna have to test it out and give it a go, see what I think. But I do love sunset color stories, and especially with me being a fan of Bailey Sarian, I would hold on to this regardless of whether I like the colors or not. So definitely not getting rid of this one. All right, next up we have from, it's either Duce or Duce, or I'm not 100% sure how to say the brand. I believe that this also came in like an Ipsy or a BoxyCharm, but it is very neutral, smoky eye leaning color story with a highlighter on here as well. Everything is magnetic in here, so you can definitely pop them out and kind of shuffle them around as you please. And I have not touched any of this palette yet, and so I am planning on decluttering it and giving it to someone that will be able to appreciate it more, because I just don't really, like, I've never grabbed it. Next we have from Linda Halberg the Spectral palette, and Linda Halberg, she actually, I think she got her start on Instagram if I'm not mistaken, but she is like stupid good at makeup. Like, I've been following her for a while, and she just makes like when you think of like a badass chick, like that's how she comes across with her makeup. Like, she just, it's so cool. Like, I want to be like her because she's just so cool. And so I have several of her palettes. I know that I mentioned the quad that I had from her. So now we have the Spectral palette, and that is this guy. And it is super fun. This silver shade is very, very nice. Just swatch that on my hand. Look at it. Oh my god. Even before it has focused, it is just blinding as far as like pressed silver shades go. So good. Like, that shade alone makes this palette worth it. But it also has some really interesting color stories on here of like a mix of pastels and kind of grungy, deeper tones. It does have this one, and that one are also more on the shimmer side rather than the matte side. And then you have these four right here that are your matte shades, but very colorful, very unique storyline on here. I really, really like it, and I would highly recommend. She is definitely a little bit more expensive as far as brands go, but especially if you were someone living in Europe where you don't have to pay just exorbitant amounts for shipping, I would recommend checking her out. She is in Sweden. Yeah, highly recommend. Next we have from Midas Cosmetics. This is the Lemonade palette, and yet again a stunning yellow palette. Teresa is Dead like constantly recommends how good this palette is. They come and go with it. It's definitely one of those like limited release type guys. So whenever it's available, I would recommend picking it up. I will be including this one also in the Battle of the Yellow palettes. So definitely seeing if this guy is as good as Teresa says that it is. But if it's Midas, it probably is, because their formula is really, really good for their shadows. All right, then we have the 5 palettes that I have from Copacetic Cosmetics. I just recently did a video swatching the Streamside palette and the Companion palette for you guys. I also have a video where I showed the Butterfly Kisses and the Elysian palette. Both of those, I mean, the Butterfly Kisses was also my Battle of the Purples, because check this guy out. It's like the perfect combination of warm and cool tone purples, has like more formula variations on here than I even know how to keep up with. 2 of the flaky glitters, a pressed glitter, 4 other shimmers, and then 2 different matte shades. The Elysian palette is really, really nice. It's definitely like, if you want a palette that 1000% goes along with the artwork that is on the cover, it is this guy. Because when I think Northern Lights, I think of the shades that are in the X, and I think of the 4 iridescent shades that each have the tonal qualities that go along with the other shades. Streamside palette was really, really nice. Has a whole bunch of the flaky glitters. You can tell I am just digging in every time. This silver shade is also absolutely stunning. The green shade is stunning. These 2 matte shades are so pigmented. It was nuts. Blew my mind. They're so, so good. So yet again, a really nice palette. If you want to test out just a whole bunch of the different types of shimmer formulas that Copacetic has, I recommend the Companion palette that M. Jones did with them. Again, all the different formulas, multiple flakies, multiple shimmers, metallics, iridescents. You've got it all in here. It's so, so good. Highly recommend. In fact, which one am I going to give a swatcheroo to? I think we're going to go with this iridescent guy right here. See what that guy does. Just go right here. Yep. Rub that around. Definitely goes from pink to green. You can really see that shift while it's trying to focus. Absolutely stunning, so gorgeous, and for an iridescent, holy smokes, the amount of shine that's coming off of that guy. And then this guy is a newer one to my collection that I have not tried out yet. It's a Thin Ice palette. Hello, blue palette. What? Look at it. I mean, if it's anything like the Butterfly Kisses one, as far as like monochromatic palettes go, I am stoked beyond all imagination. Like this guy in the middle here, don't even care if it's a pressed glitter. Look at that. Look at that shade. That is a mermaid shade right there. So beyond excited to try this guy out. If you guys want a dedicated video just to this one, you'll get it. If not, it's definitely going to be featured in my Battle of the Blues, which is a couple battles away, but it will be coming. Then we have from Iby Beauty the Fireside eyeshadow palette, and this was also an Ipsy exclusive. And I have not tried this guy out yet. I don't know if it's just that like I absolutely love fire, and so I really like the palette on the outside. Like this design is beautiful to me. But then the color story on the inside is not what I think of when I think of fire. I'm a bit confused with the color story because it's pretty much a neutral palette, and then you have like one red and one green for Christmas. I don't really know what to think. I have not touched it yet, and as much as I like the packaging, I think I am going to declutter this guy. Next we have from Rebel Rouge Labs the Howlin' For You palette, which is back for Halloween again this year. I did a video for it last Halloween because it is a recurring palette. This is one of the very few palettes where I will keep the sleeve for it because I just absolutely, I mean, like, look at the artwork. This artwork is so, so good. And then the inside of the palette is the perfect Halloween color story. You have 4 really, really nice matte shades, and then the 5 metallics. I mean, really 4 metallics on the outside, and then this guy's a pressed glitter. But all of the shades are really, really nice. They blend together beautifully. The look that I did during that video, I ruined it when I added the pressed glitter, because at that point I had no idea what I was doing with pressed glitters, and so I was like, all right, I'm gonna apply this to the entire lid, and it ruined the look because the look with these other 8 shades was absolutely stunning and perfect for Halloween. So if you are wanting a really, really good Halloween palette, highly recommend this palette. Next from Makeup Maniacs, we have the Green Goddess 2. So Makeup Maniacs has 2 versions of this. I think they might have actually come out with a 3rd version. Unsure, don't quote me on that one. But this is a green palette. Does have a couple neutral shades in there, but primarily greens. And I used this in a video back when I was in Germany. I have to be honest, I was a little bit disappointed with the formula. It was not nearly as pigmented as I was hoping. Like, I ended up having to go and grab a couple Terra Moons shades to put over the top of it to kind of save the look, because just very, very muted is all I would say. Like, it's not a bad formula, especially if you are someone that prefers colors that are not quite as bold. But if you are like me, where I want my eye look to punch someone in the face, this takes a lot of working with to get the shades to build up. So beautiful color story, just wish that the shades were a little bit more pigmented. Then we have 2 7-pan palettes from Tammy Tanuka, and this guy is, I think both of them are actually kind of newer ones, but this guy is definitely a new one, and it is just all the cool toned, like, seaweedy swamp shades that you could think of. Like, it is such a good, like, I don't even know what, like, smoke palette, I guess, is like what I would call it, because I wouldn't really say smoky eye, but like, you're leaning towards all of the cool tones. Like, you've got this really nice greenish, metallic, a gray, a kind of grungy gold, really nice grayish blue, kind of grayish, like purplish, grayish neutral shade, and then a gray silver. So just all the grayish tones, and it is just screaming my name. I am so excited to dip into this guy. And then the other one is the opposite. It is all iridescence. So you've got 7 very different iridescent shades. This one looks like it's leaning a bit more purple. Then you've got kind of a peachy tone, bluish green, yellow, peachy gold, even more peachy gold, and then pink. And so lots of different tones on here. So I definitely would view this guy as like a really solid companion palette. And so if you're wanting just a really good palette for like all the different pops of color options, this would be a great one. Next up from Too Faced, we have the Pineapple palette. It's not bad. Like, as far as neutral palettes go, this gold is actually really, really nice, and so is this green. It's a duochrome between kind of an olivey green and a brown shade. So I'll go ahead and swatch that guy for you guys. So that guy can just go right there. So you can see how it kind of goes between brownish orange and then green. I'm not opposed to Too Faced's formula. I think that it's actually somewhat decent. I'm not a huge fan of the drama around the brand, but the palettes that I do have, I'm gonna hold on to. Then we have from Viseart, the world's tiniest palette. Has 8 shades in here and yet is still somehow itty bitty. But I really like the color story. I have not had a chance to test it out yet, but I am excited to, because especially like this purple shimmer is like a pink to purple to bluish kind of look. Very, very pretty. I am interested to see how this yellow ends up turning out. That's this matte shade, if it's super pigmented or not. So definitely looking forward to trying this guy out. I do also like that you can pop the pans out of there if you want. So if I end up deciding that there's only a few that I like and I want to get rid of the rest, I'll just probably depot those few and then declutter the rest. Then we have 2 from Makeup Revolution. Technically this guy is from I Heart Revolution, but to me it's like it's the same brand. So we have from the new Batman line, the Joker palette, which is very colorful, and so I am very interested to try this guy. I have not dipped into it yet, but I thought that it looked very interesting as far as color stories go. I also thought the packaging on the outside was kind of fun. And then we have from I Heart Revolution, this is squishy, in case you were curious. It's very squishy, and as we know, I love squishy, so. Then the inside, even though it is more neutral leaning, does have some cute pops of color with the yellow, red, and purples. So I am interested in trying this guy out, seeing how I like it, and then, if anything, just squishy. So, gonna hold on to those. All right, next up and last, we have all of my 9-pan Glam Shop palettes. So I have 12. Of which these are the 3 that are the pastel ones, so we're going to hold off on looking at those until the comparison video. But then these are the 9 other ones. I featured the purple one in the Battle of the Purples, and it was one of my top ones. It is very, very good. I will say this guy was a little bit interesting to me because it did not really run purple. It was more so like navy blue with some gold, so I thought that was an interesting choice in there, but the rest of the shades are absolutely stunning. It was really, really nice. I did a video with the Laguna palette, which of the 9 here is probably one of my top favorites. I absolutely love this color story of like the sea blues and greens and then those pops of orange and red. I mean, just so, so good, and the look turned out absolutely stunning. So if you like this type of color story, this palette is just so freaking good. And then we have Monochromatic Blue palette. So I will be having this in my Battle of the Blues. You can definitely tell that I've tried it out a couple times. I will say that the blue matte shades in this particular palette do have a decent amount of fallout. So I'd be cautious of that and highly recommend doing your eye look before the rest of your makeup if you are using this palette. Then we have these guys, of which we have the Clementine palette, which is more of your orangey tones. Then we have the Rosy palette, which is your pinks and reds. We have the Paprika palette, which is a newer one for me that I have not tried out yet. That is just all of the like orangey red tones and just looks like it's going to be a very fiery, fiery color story. So super excited to give this guy a go. Then we have the Citrus palette, which is a yellow palette. So this will also go into my Battle of the Yellow palettes. Very excited about that. This iridescent shade is probably my top iridescent shade out of any palette, any single shadows, all of it. So I will swatch this guy for you guys so you can see what I am talking about, because it is just so, so shiny. And that is with one swatch. You can even build it up to where it reaches a certain level of opacity. It's so good. Oh my gosh, of the iridescent shimmery shades, it is so good. So highly recommend checking this guy out. And then we have probably, this guy is definitely my top favorite palette. I mean, the Laguna one is probably number 2, Citrus palette number 3. This guy is my number 1. This guy I have not tried out yet, so it might end up swapping out that this is my number 1, because this is more of the grungy green tones, and so very excited to give this guy a go. Plus it has 2 of those awesome marble metallic shades that Glam Shop has that are just really fun to use. So I am very excited to try this guy out, especially for fall. Just such a good fall palette. And then this guy. For all my green lovers out there, look at this. also very awesome grungy green palette, but I think that the pops of yellow on there just like fire it up a little bit more to where you could really create some awesome looks. And then this guy runs a little bit more tealish blue rather than green, and so just so good. Like this shade here in the middle, I'm gonna swatch for you guys. It is just all the grunge green. I mean, look at that, so gorgeous. I love this palette, it's so nice. So highly recommend if you are wanting a really nice grungy green palette, this is your gal right here. Alright, so that was all of my 7 to 9 pan palettes, and I feel like we didn't do too bad. We actually decluttered 10 this time, which is pretty good considering that we were starting off with, I think, somewhere around like 80 or 90 palettes. So not bad at all to get rid of 10. I think that's a good amount. I would love to know what you guys think. What do you think of the palettes I decluttered? What about the ones that I was keeping? Do you guys have any of those? Any recommendations of palettes that you would like for me to get? Any particular palettes that you guys want to see videos of? Just let me know down in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you liked the video, thumbs down if you did not. As we always do, let me know either way. And if you made it to the end of this video and you have not yet subscribed, I think you should, because I think you kind of like the content, first off. Second off, we do a ton of indie brands, colorful makeup, lots of different eye looks, lots of comparisons so that you guys know exactly what types of indie brands you should be checking out. So I highly recommend subscribing if that sounds like some fun to you. And other than that, you guys just go have a good one.